Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, October 13, 2021, Wednesday. Quality and safety topic continue in this discussion. Every day we talk of. Nothing very specific today, it is same. I am trying to continue it. If video helps me, Airtel supports because there is always danger from Airtel signals. Still few FPS. Title is Civil Field Engineering, Life Engineers Quality AnnexSL. SHE, that is Safety Health Environment, Designs, Construction, Methods, Contracts, Organizations, Communication, Coordination, why we behind quality of standard material. Every day we talk it, and it's also good to talk like this repetitively so that people remain aware of certifications as it is, also other certifications as these are. These certifications should be honored. These certifications are not just papers, but these are conduct. These are characters of persons who work in field, and this must reach to this standard. All these certificates indicate that person who is holding these certificates shall work in a way that quality is achieved, safety, health, environment are cared for, and that is only a reason why certificates and education is conducted. There is no meaning of education and training if we cannot respect it, honor it. Training cannot be measured in terms of money, it has to be measured in terms of work. Work means you are educated, even though you have no formal education, but you have training education. There are so many people in this world who are technicians but don't have any training, like many crafts people, many artisans on construction site, in mechanical world. They have just job training, but they have mind, they know how to work. They work, but we cannot call them experts of profession, but experts in certain activity. They are taught, they learn from their gurus or their teachers who are not educated one but experienced one. That way we have to respect them as far as they can deliver work. Of course, we can't expect them to do theory work and to do some other work which does not cover their skill. I have seen many people in this world, many, during my career, who can think, who can think how to do best work in a better way, further better way. And they have conception to think, but they are not having any, they don't have any background of academics. They cannot go to highest level, but they perform, and those who are having highest levels, they depend on these people. I think all trades I have seen, for example, carpenters, former carpenters, steel fixers, means job training is required there, means they are to be told what is to be done. Some people are educated also, I cannot say everyone is not educated, but generally those who are having such skills, whatever you instruct them, they will do better than that, or they will add their own ideas to that. That is required. I have seen many educated people, youth, who are not interested in any technical work. Generally, I can say 80% or 90% such youth today, and not only in my country, and everywhere, you can say also everywhere, they're not interested in technical activities. They are interested in desk activities or computer activities, or where they can just sit at one place and run their life by earning money. Earning money has become one aim, you can say. If you can earn money, your education is valued. Education is measured in terms of money. Well, I think this is fault. This is a fault of understanding. This is fault of profession. This is fault of what we think is right or not right. We can't measure, we can say we can't measure competency. In fact, you can say competency. We can't measure competency in terms of money. As I say, there are requirements. Requirement number one is safety, health, environment, and requirement number two is quality requirement, quality mandate. If I cannot maintain my quality standards, first of all, I condemn myself, because I am educated one, qualified one, trained one, professional one, competent one. What I don't have. But what's fun? If I can't force people to do quality work, I cannot force myself to do quality work. I only think all time, this is my package. Why should I worry about this if they are not worried? Why should I worry about this? If they are not worried, is that answer? You can write answer. Should I not raise myself a question to me why I am acting and accepting as such? When I have been taught, if I have learned, then why I run away from that responsibility? Should I not ask myself? I think everybody should ask itself. I don't say I have right to ask you. Yes, I have a right to ask you only when you report to me. Or you have to right to ask me when I report to you. But is that enough? Suppose I am not in field. I am an engineer. I am not in field. I am not working on production or construction. You think it's not my job to be concerned about quality? Everybody has to be concerned about quality, whether one works in designs or one works in construction or in manufacturing or wherever one works. It's duty of everybody, and in particular of those engineers who are in profession and in field of production or manufacturing or construction. It is their job. It's job of each and every one of such professionals to respond to requirements. I cannot take cover behind a shield that this is an owner doesn't like this or client doesn't like this. I can't say that. What they like is their problem, but what I like is these requirements, documents, specifications, drawings, practice, and ultimate delivery is whose responsibility? It is responsibility of those who work in field, in construction, or in floors, or in factories. Their responsibility. This is only reason that I include in my title, and that is civil field engineering, which is for every branch of engineering, because it's related to public. It is related to life. It is related to the engineers and quality system and quality. It relates to safety and designs in construction. And you can say whatever methods we use during our activities, and how do we organize our systems, our contracts. Do we understand contracts? If we understand, why don't contracts give that requirement positive, that requirement realized? And how do you do organization, general organization, whether it is contracting, it is design, it is supervision, it is whatsoever? And are we able to communicate successfully as well as coordinate in a constructive way, so that quality and safety work together, they club together, safety is achieved and quality is destined. This is very simple explanation. Everybody has to ask itself what I am doing. I am not talking that you are a child, you do not know this. Problem remains, everybody knows something, But ignorance, just like in safety, just like in safety world, we can say safety is first. We say safety is first. Do we commit that? If we commit that, that's fine. Some commit and some don't commit. There are people, there are organizations who care about safety these days, and there are those who don't care for this. Everything. Both are there. I mean, just wearing a dress or uniform or having some PPEs do not mean we move on safety, we accept safety. Safety means it is for personal as far as work. We know structures fail, new structures fail. There is no doubt nowadays. We always often get news that this building was constructed for collapsed, or this bridge collapsed, or such news certainly arrive. What does it mean? I think this means that we are least bothered about anything. Quality is not just a requirement, it is to be added, it is to be delivered because it is specified, and it is work forever, for years to come. It cannot be taken just for ignorance, it cannot be spoiled. Quality can never be spoiled because it is money, it is material, it is source, and it is nature. No one has right to spoil nature. Building quality is not maintained, manufacturing quality is not maintained. This means materials quality is condemned. Everywhere material is used. Material is natural. It is not my baby, it is not your baby, it is God's baby. God gives material. And if we do not respect material quality, we do not respect God. My prayers are no meaning if I don't have prayers in my profession. Prayers in profession means I should take my profession on religious grounds, because in religion we are scared of God. This is my religion, that I work in engineering. When I work, I have to think that I am performing prayer. And that prayer should be quality one. Because God says you have to work best one. Whatever you think it is best, work that one. This is, I understand. Because God is my teacher, God is my professor, and without that I cannot move, even though I am engineer or I am doctor. Even in medical world, doctors ultimately says it's in hands of God's. It's not in my hand. In my hand was duty. I have done it. Now it's up to that power who is responsible for each and every act in this world. So if doctors and others say that, ultimately we have to leave it to God. So why not to move on direction of God? Everything should be based on facts. Everything should be based on truth. Engineering is based on fact. Nobody can say that. Engineering is never imaginary. Though it starts with imagination, but it delivers solid. It delivers something concrete. That is what engineering means. Engineering means ideas you have, generated ideas you have, created ideas you have, intuitive ideas you have, dreams you have. All these are required to be brought to physical existence. And that is what is engineering. And of course, it is based on scientific formula, scientific approach. Science and engineering can never be separate. One is thinking science, other one is practical science. Both are sciences. And these sciences mean systems. Science is nothing but systematic understanding of nature. We say knowledge is important, but from where knowledge comes? Knowledge comes from nature. When we observe this universe, we understand it. And when we understand it clearly, it's functional understanding. We understand, but we do not make it. We cannot change it. We cannot adopt it to its requirement, but to our requirement. We use nature to our requirement, sun to our requirement, soil to our requirement, rain to our requirement. When it happens to us to suit our requirement, we feel happy. Otherwise, we say this is natural calamity, because it doesn't happen to our requirement, and we feel threatened. We feel danger of survival. It's very important point, very important point. And civil engineering is one of those branches of engineering which is life builder, which is facilities builder, which is developer, which is something that basically natural materials are converted to physical being only by civil engineering for startup. We want to initiate something, we have to depend on civil engineers, or you may call whatever engineers, but they have to start from soil itself. They have to start from soil and they have to create something which is sometimes excellent and sometimes you can say it is useful, and it is mandatory that we need it. If civil engineering doesn't exist, we cannot develop. We cannot develop to current way of development. Yes, we can develop something else. We can stay in jungles, we can stay in forests, we can stay in hutments, but hutment is also a part of civil engineering. We have to get something like that. Those who are civil engineers, they must have pride that they are real representative of nature, because they officially and formally work with nature. They draw materials from nature, they draw power from nature, and they work in open. They don't work closed door all time, except those who are in designs. Sometimes they don't work in open, they work always on computers these days. So I don't criticize that, because that's also a requirement these days. You cannot go without that. You cannot perform without computers. But computer doesn't force you to stay indoors. It is duty of every design engineer to have knowledge, to have input, to give input to those people who work on sites, who work in construction, who work in manufacturing. Everywhere engineer is required. When I talk of civil engineers, I talk means in general. To some extent, everybody knows civil engineering, at least physically. Every person walking in the street that knows what is building construction, though they don't understand anything, but they know some excavation is done, some structure is constructed and finishings are done. This much everybody knows in their own way of knowledge. Everybody knows this. Just like everybody knows about machines, though I don't know anything about machines, but I know machines are there, factories there, they are working, people are producing, these items come, even though we know what this machine does. Same way everybody knows about electrical, how electrical works. They don't know anything behind theory, behind how it is processed, but we know electricity is there. This means whatever works physically, whatever seen, what is experienced by everybody, that is known to everyone. Just like everybody knows nature. So we can't make nature, but we know nature. We can destroy nature, that's true. We have destroyed it. We have polluted air, we have polluted water, everything we have done. That we have to curse ourselves, and then we say, it's too heat, too hot, it's too cold. We complain also, because we complain to ourselves. Nature has given us everything. Same way, nature has given us each and every material, and we stay on this planet, that's also by nature. I consider nature as a top class civil engineer and also top class engineer, because we can't do what nature has done. We can't even imagine that. We can only see that and understand, not more than that. So I should say, I should not repeat everything every time, but I should just, I want to see that you are aware, people are aware about reliability, about good construction, about good safety, all these. Time must be valued, cost must be valued, risk must be understood and seen, and unexpected events must also be tackled with. And reliability is very important from that point of view, means all that analysis, reliability, thinking, synthesis, concentrations, and ultimately power. After all, what is power? We have to define power also sometimes. Power doesn't mean administrative power, it doesn't mean political power, it doesn't mean you have the power to beat someone. Power means you have to serve best. If I can serve to best, based on my capacity, based on my knowledge, I can change society. I can't change society physically, but in a way that development is done, society automatically changes. Development changes society. And development is done by society itself, because society is invested there. Society is money, society is life, society everything. And society accepts that, or society rejects that. If society accepts my work, This is my award. If society rejects my work, this is not my award, this is my teacher, this is my lesson, my class. If society says, no, this is a good engineer, society has different criteria, but if I am a member of society, I have certainly not common criteria, what others say, this is good or this is bad. If somebody asks me, how this happens with me, being a civil engineer, sometimes people ask me, how is this building? They think I would appreciate that. They think that. That's why they come to me, please come and see my site, how it is. I say, I cannot answer this. You are showing me plaster, you are showing me this finishing, this paint. Yes, this is a part of engineering, but this is not real engineering. Real engineering, this is just, something decorated. I say your site is good if your structure is good. A structure is good means it has been built according to what was required. In theory we have so much, in designs we have so much. And that so much is known to engineers, those are educated ones. If they don't care, that is different, but they are bound to know that. Otherwise they cannot pass engineering. Engineering is full of formula, full of theories, full of, you can say, empirical world, and full of imaginations. Really, maybe people don't believe, but it's a fact that engineering is full of mathematics, it's full of science, it's full of contemplation, assumptions. Likewise, you can say this imagination, when we imagine a building, we really imagine that. When we see a drawing, we imagine that. And that imagination also gives drawing, that imagination reflects that drawing. And that drawing further we imagine. The drawings tell us you imagine like this, you have to do like this. So it is consecutive process, means once this way, another time that way, you draw something, then you think on that, you again amend to that one, modify that one, and think something else. Think vertically how it moves, think horizontally how it moves, think other way. That is thinking process. It's not, it never ends. It never ends. We do during designs. During designs, you can say design is a world where one must have top level imagination, what must have top level calculation, and even if you use computers, even if you use software, skill is otherwise also required, because software has limited skills. Whatever is programmed, software does that. Whatever is not programmed, we have to do it. Software has limitations, but mind is such a software, it doesn't have limitations. Don't forget, when there was no software, structures were constructed. That time also I think better structures were constructed when there were no softwares. This was time. You can see many examples are in the world. So I do not name those, but that's fact of life, that life moves as such. So what I say, certain power to achieve everything. What is that power? That power is this what I am explaining. If I devote myself, if I dedicate myself, if I learn something and further learn by doing, knowledge is never limited. Knowledge have open vistas. You can learn, I can learn whatever I want to learn. And learning doesn't mean finished. We have to learn by doing that. If I say I have to do this, I have to do this means when I do it, I learn a lot. It's not simple doing, my job is over. When do it second time on some other project, I should do better than previous one. That is life. If I know one route first time, and maybe I watch here and there, I look at this end or that end, what is shop, what is office, what is location. When second time I move on that, I would not concentrate on those locations because I know them. And third time and fourth time when I walk on the road, I will not even look at that because I have seen that. But new way if I go, I will do same thing again. Therefore, power is stored, power continues to be generated, and there is no value but unlimited value. We have to reach solutions, we have to find solution, and finding solution itself is a power. Solutions shall be available we shall find, we shall crack problems and find solutions. For that, everybody can do something, and if persons like engineers are available, it's respective duty of every person, every engineer, to solve for which engineer is employed. And that way I can say here we can go to, for example, as I was talking about construction contracts, and we continued on clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, likewise scope for clause 1, normative references clause 2, and then it was terms and definitions clause 3, and 4 was context of organization, and 5th was leadership, which we talked a lot at length something so that we can understand meaning of leadership. Article meaning itself tells lead, and then we go to planning in clause 6. Clause 6 planning, which we're talking, and of course planning linked to resources, linked to what we have, that support, and we were talking about that support. We talked something in that. What is competence? And we were talking about various leadership, divisional leadership, quality leadership, estimation, etc., etc. And during this talk, video broke, I remember. So let us concentrate on that. After all, we talked again signals down, we talked of leadership, and we talked of resources, we talked of now support. Support, as I said, everybody is a support, every process is a support, every resource is a support, and there is no end to that. Leadership is also everywhere. For me, everyone is leader and everyone is support. It's like, chain reaction, as we say in modern physics. In nuclear reactors, chain reaction works. So it is also a kind of chain reaction while we perform engineering or whatever activity. In society also, chain reaction works, though it's not understood by people. Every activity is chain reaction. Sequence, you can say. Sequence or chain reaction, one after another. It's like serial numbers, 0 to 9 of Mardha, we say. In sequence we count as well as we learn mathematics. That's also a work of sequence. And whole universe is based on maths. And we too are mathematicians, not by designation but by knowledge. Without mathematics, physics, chemistry cannot be understood. Without mathematics, engineering cannot be understood. And without mathematics, no drawings can be produced. So we can say mathematics is, you can say, just a subject that every engineer knows. I'm not saying that engineers are top class mathematicians, but as far as work is concerned, they have to use it in applications. In theory, means we have very elementary mathematics formula and we have very complicated equations, all work. When we go higher into depth, we will find that we go deeper into, we can say, depth of studies, you will find excessive mathematics, and that is used in designs and also in other branches of engineering. It is same, there's no difference. Simplest to complex mathematics exists everywhere. And in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, mathematics works immensely. If I can't understand mathematics, then I can't do anything in engineering. And mathematics is a top class science, you can say, because it is responsible for each act. Each act we do and whatever happens, we have to understand that in terms of mathematics. Just like we say, oh, it is 1 millimeter rain today, 5 millimeter rain today. Why we do relate to millimeters? Because that can be considered a reference for quantity of rain. How many cubic meter water has dropped today in terms of rain, we can find out. So this is discharged possibly on ground. We do that in water resources engineering. Oh, this is 5 millimeter rain If you have area on which rain fell, we can say this is quantity of water approximately. Same way we can say in medical world, references to these sticks are there. For example, what's height, what's weight. So if people know mathematics, I think they can be better, they can have a better life. It's not easy to learn mathematics, but it's not also very difficult. And here's what I'm saying, also a calculation applies on works. What leaders should know, what those who work as supports, they should know. Sometimes support is important and other time leadership is important. But I would say both are important to me. Because without supports, leaders cannot work. And without leadership, supports cannot work. Both are complementary to each other. Yes, support may not be leader, but without supports, leaders cannot work. You can take example of building. Foundation is a support and pre-foundation is soil, and that is a support. Then you can say after foundation, your columns are support. If you go above ground, columns are supports. And then you can say, what is floor? Floor is used by everybody. So there we say, I am sitting here, I am leading you. But factually speaking, floor is also not a leader. Floor gives a space for you to sit. In that way, it is a support. And who is ultimate leader? Let's assume, if you take out soil from beneath foundation, shall building stay? Imagine, I am taking out soil from below building. I am just imagining, I am not going to take it out, don't worry. So what shall happen? Building shall settle unevenly or it may collapse. If I don't provide supports there, if I am taking out something. Temporary supports I have to provide, or else building will move. And it happens in earthquake. When earthquake action comes on to building, horizontal force acts, the vibrative forces act. It causes imbalances. The equilibrium of the dynamic equilibrium building, and building collapses. This means soil, weak soil cannot support building. If soil is strong, it can support building. But we say support. But ultimately building depends on its existence. So that way we can say soil is a leader. Because soil leads building to exist, survive. So it is support or it is leadership? It's a confusion. I say soil is a support, but with such a strong support that it is itself a leader. If it fails, everything collapses. You got my point. It's like that top responsible person who works on top head of company, organization. If that fails completely, temporarily whole company collapses until it is replaced by other leader. So leadership is not original, you can say. Leadership doesn't mean original status. It means it is cumulative sum of whatever supports work that person did in life. It is cumulative sum, cumulative conduct of all activities that person learnt in life. That can be equated to relative leadership. He has this much experience, this person has 20 years experience. He has done these projects. And if we view those projects, whatever these projects were, this knowledge he acquired, one acquired, leaders acquired on that projects, this must be used on this project. So we can say it is relative leadership based on academic value, academic qualification, training and total of experience, and it is called total value of a person. We can conduct value, we can find out what value this person has in terms of marks or something, and we can, this person is of this profile and this person is suitable to head this organization or head this project. And that's how you define leadership. Sometimes this is leadership and sometimes this is, you can say, support. Leader has to support itself. That's what I mean to say. Leadership and support are proportional to each other, directly proportional to each other, because a leader itself is a sum of supports. There can be one support with that leader, there can be 500 supports with that leader. It depends on experience of that person. And those supports are on itself automatic leadership, because it is proven one. It's not just starter one. If I worked 15 years back, for example, or 20 years back, I remember. But that support is built in my character, that is built in my mind, that is built in my soul, even though I forget everything. But that concept I cannot forget. That determination, that strength which I got from that experience cannot be forgotten, cannot be eliminated. Even if I like it to eliminate, I like it, forget, I cannot forget, because everybody has mind, and mind is very powerful instrument in that regard. It's something that it doesn't allow to miss. Mind has perfect files, and those files are there. Even if I don't want them to stay there, these will stay there until my mind is broken or damaged. I cannot remember. This is my specific understanding of leadership, that leader should be, it doesn't matter what leadership can do, that leadership has to lead everybody. Leadership must understand problems of others. Leadership must understand, must have vision, must have problem understanding, must have, you can say, contemplation, must have, you can say, what is expected or what's not expected. An ordinary support cannot understand that. But leadership is sum of supports. It has to understand. Really, it is, I may say, something normally is called extraordinary or outstanding. If leader is smart one, leader is powerful one, and that power I was talking about. Leader itself is a power, if real leader it is. If leader does something, people note it. If leader does not something, people say he is sleeping. This person is sleeping. Oh, he sits in office, he doesn't sit in office. This person chats a lot, talks a lot. He is just an administrator, is not a leader. People say something like that. Oh, this person is very good administrator, but he does nothing technical. They say, means everybody can comment on others. But people don't want to comment on themselves. Can I criticize myself? That is my question to me. If I can criticize myself, then I am an investigator. Because I investigate myself. Where did I wrong? We say we should work, then we should review our work. That's rightly said. Others would review. You don't say they will review it, but you do review. Do you review your work? You say, I did it, I reviewed many times. I'm not saying many times or no time. Did you ensure that was it same way I wanted to do it? That's my question. If I make mistakes, then I should know my mistakes. Every person knows its mistake, but sometimes mistake can be corrected, sometimes it cannot be corrected because of various complications. But next time when you do same activity, that should not be repeated. There can be different types of mistake, but not same one. If I do same one, this means I am ignorant, I don't care for mistakes. And remember, take and mistake are both equal. Take means which I take good, it is successful for work. And when I take bad, it's called mistake, means I could not understand requirements. Both are teachers. Both are my teachers, both are experiences, because mistakes cannot be avoided. Mistakes happen due to various reasons, and sometimes these are dependent on other factors which are beyond someone's limit. So what I say, leadership in organizations, contracting, for example, say divisional leader, quality leader, construction leader. Likewise, every department has leaders. Those leaders must have uniform approach. When we talk of, let us say, construction division, we were talking of something about engineering division last time. Engineering division, though name is engineering, everything is engineering on site, I don't say no, but we just name something. For example, in projects we used to call in past that mechanical engineering, or you can say HVAC, etc. This is called engineering. Though everything is engineering, but sometimes just to differentiate with title like that. Means mechanical engineering was applied to terms where mechanical items, engineering we used to say actually engineering. And for civil engineering, construction we use construction term only, and for design engineering we use design term, just to just to cause a difference in relative position. Otherwise, every activity is engineering based. So we just to differentiate, we say okay, this is a construction department, but it is engineering. It is use of mind. Use of mind is a must in engineering everywhere. It is quality, safety, it is designs, it is construction, it's mechanical, it's electrical, it's agricultural, it's services, it's plumbing, whatever. Use of mind is required. You cannot say these people are sitting in offices, they cannot do anything, they're not working. Work is done by thinking. Site work is done later. First comes contemplation. If contemplation is clear, idea is clear, why do we contemplate? My question is that. What is purpose of contemplation? What is purpose of thinking? What is purpose of all this? Purpose is that we have to understand it rightly. We know what is to be done. We cannot blindly do it. We have to do it following our drawings, our designs, whatever we receive or we do. We have to think of how to use resources in the best possible manner so that resources are not abused. Because it is time, it's money that is spent on resources, and we cannot resource something which is not good, not suitable. We have to procure resources and this costs. And there is a control on cost on every project. We can say cost control, and we can say time control, we can say quality control, we can say safety control, we can say control of every kind. Those controls are useful, may not be 100%, but to some extent, how far we can move with them. Everybody wants work be done best. Work be done best under required parameters. If I am a contractor, I will like to see that my work is done best, but within certain limits. Whatever is paid to me, I am a contractor after all, I am a businessman, say, I would spend that money only, but I have put in budget. I cannot double that. If I double that, then I cannot complete that project. And project completion is my job, is my assignment. So I have to spend only that much money which I allot in my budget for whatever item. It's a fact. I cannot say this contract is useless, this contract is not working, because sometimes everybody has problems. Do I work all the time as an engineer? I cannot say that. Means it is project. It is responsibility of everybody, whoever is working on this project, whoever works there. It is construction contract or design contract or complete contract. Contract we know very well, responsibility of two persons. Two parties are minimum in a contract. Party 2 is responsible for doing that contract, and party 1 is responsible for meeting all expenses on that contract. This is contract. Contractor doesn't mean irrelevant person, because it is on one track, and other track employer or contract party 1 moves. And leadership which we come in, these are, we can say, on a lower profile. A contracting company has also leadership, where a design company too has leadership. Engineering, which is independent of contractor, that also has leadership qualities. Leadership can be defined in a number of ways, or you can say engineer itself is a leader. We can replace term of leader by engineer because engineer is a leader. Engineer equal leader at every level. Even those who are in first level of engineering, they call themselves diploma in engineering. Diploma, maybe polytechnic diploma or some other high level diploma, which means they are actually they can be used for para engineering works, means maybe they are not very good designers, maybe, but that is a part of our system. They learn how to do, how to support. Means engineer is a leader, and every engineer knows it. You are a leader to do some job. You are leader to do it best. You are leader in a way that people can trust you for work quality, for work safety, and for work quantity and time. Because time is also very significant. Actually, without time, you cannot say contract exists. Every contract has two functions. One function is that in contract, scope of work is defined with time. When we say define scope of work, it's not only work. Time also moves with that. This is work and this is time. You have to measure too. If you only see scope and don't care for time in contract, this means this scope is unlimited time, and which is not possible. This is one part of contract. Only part of contract you can say. When you see scope, when you see some document, new document, you will say, what's the scope? Let me see. And when you see scope, naturally you will see time. And without time, without contract duration, you cannot find how much work on average basis is to be performed in 1 month or 15 days or whatever period you select for that. Am I able to do this? Then you will ask the question, is my company able to do this work? Do I have that capacity? And second point, you'll see how much money can it cost? Means what should be expenses on this? Of course, you will calculate that. But an idea can come to mind just during first review, first study of contract. It is your own system. A contract engineer or a quantity engineer can just have an idea. Let us say this one item you can take, for example, which is you have to do, that is concrete or RCC. Then you can have some specific item. You have an assessment of total area of construction and you have approximate quantity. It can tell you what amount this structure should cost. And that can in ratio proportion can tell you this will be budget until that project, that contract is having many such items which cost a lot. We're talking of contracting, general contracting, RCC contracting, in which there will be different systems as well. For example, depends on what's the use of that building, land use, or how this building shall be used. This may have a lot of finishes, this may have a lot of landscape around or within, and this can have some specific functions, some furnishers. Sometimes these are included in building itself, depending on what. Those are having different prices, but it is your choice as engineer. Can you handle, can you manage that? Can you take care of that? Because sometimes contracts are so high profile that these organizations do not go into what people think or we think. This is civil construction. They give package contract. Package contract, in that package a long list is available. So every engineer in the organization, which we call leaders, it may be we are talking of quality or engineering, engineering we're talking of. What is engineering? We discuss the length. Every problem is to be studied by engineering division. And that division means one leader, one engineer. It can be called field engineer, it can be called office engineer, it can be called engineering manager or organizer. Why, whatever title you call it, it depends upon that person, how far that person can think. And that thinking is very significant. If I cannot think, I have no right to be in that position. And but here, being engineer means thinking of my basic philosophy. Without thinking, I cannot do anything. Believe me, it's very significant. As I said again, thinking, concentration, thinking and concentration again and again gives me changes. Thinking and concentration again and again bring to me various informations, automatically generated information from within myself based on my previous knowledge, previous experience and current requirement. This information that's already within me, or I can get from contact documents, or I can get from some other source, can give me enough light to view all problems and all solutions. Engineering is such a word. Engineering means I'm talking of project engineering. I'm talking of particular project, whatever I am dealing with, I deal with at that time. And it is deep concentration because it is sheerly technical work. It is not something we can dispense with without any control. If engineering is controlled successfully, I can say work can be controlled successfully. It can be controlled time wise, it can be controlled construction wise, it can be controlled quality wise, it can be controlled safety wise, because we have every answer with us. We know what we have to do. It's not that 11th hour when work is done, we say, no, this is problem. We find this problem now. You cannot say trucks of concrete wait on site. People wait on site, pump is available. And we say this is problem, we can't pour. When you see 10 trucks stand there, 5 trucks stand there. One truck has 8 cubic meter concrete, 40 cubic meter, 50 cubic meter concrete is already on site. Pump is on site, people are ready, they want clearance. And you say, here is a problem. I can't do that. Is it happen? Can it happen like this? I can't say. No one shall accept that. Means, are you sleeping? Did you sleep? You did not know that problem. And that problem means engineering problem. If engineering cannot solve that problem, there is no purpose of engineering on that project. Because that engineer did not understand problem in advance and there was no coordination. In fact, you can say it is failure of coordination. It's not only failure of coordination but also failure of communication. It's failure of interactive activities that should be conducted between engineering and construction, engineering and quality. These people did not work. This organization tree failed here. And that's what I say, system was there, but people were not there. System existed. System existed in papers, but people did not take any interest in that affair. That is where I say attitude problems comes into, and I said attitude of people must be trained, must be set right. And if attitude within people does not work, no division can successfully move, no project can successfully move. As I said, we should have information in advance, and that information should be given to those people who work on site, those staff, those workers. They should know what has to be done, and that should be final for every activity. We cannot say you do it subject to this. On construction, we have no right to say subject to this. That can be somewhere else. In construction, it is work. It is final. Therefore, construction is very significant from that viewpoint. We cannot leave it to subject to this and subject to that, because this is requirement. Subject doesn't work there. Work works there. Product works there. Engineering is therefore considered very significant word from facts viewpoint. Facts means information, worthy information, right information, suitable information, applicable information. And that is what engineering is about. Engineering has to provide that information to construction. And it has to be provided in time, before time. Because based on that information, procurement is conducted. Materials are procured, resources are procured based on that construction. And if based on that engineering, construction is also engineering, so you can say engineering information is related to construction and construction is related to project delivery. If I cannot deliver, means I could not get that information or I could not construct that in time. So we can blame others. But my job is not to blame others. As a leader, there are so many leaders, so many engineers on same project. Every engineer has certain roles, but that role is not tied by law. If I see that something didn't happen, maybe by other person, other engineer, then it's my duty that I should talk of that. I am not getting this information. Or even, feedback has to come from one to other. Ultimately, because construction person has to deliver product. Construction person should be supported by everyone. That is one requirement. We cannot leave it to construction person alone, because we are person of construction from behind screen, behind curtain. We cannot blame that curtain for our mistakes. If I have mistaken, I cannot blame that curtain. I cannot shield behind that curtain. I have to expose myself. What's wrong with that? If I did not work, I did not work means I ignored. I did not know. I did not know what I had to do. We can say that everybody should be active, and project of construction, or you can say engineering construction, never depends on sleep. Sleep means inaction. Sleep doesn't mean close eyes and go to bed. No. Here, sleep means failure of action. Failure of action, that leads to failure of time. That in that time you can't achieve anything. And that time which goes is physical time, is time related to watch, and that time cannot come back. Not only in construction but also in other world affairs, time works same way. We cannot retrieve time, but we can apply more efforts. We can augment our resources, or we can say work overtime to recover that lost time. It cannot come back to us. We have to utilize the other time more efficiently. That is an only answer. But we have to keep in mind, when we did not work successfully in ordinary requirement, can we work successfully in that overtime requirement? That is what is to be understood. Means more actions are required. Sleep is not required. If we sleep in ordinary time, shall we not sleep in that time? Also a question. Therefore, leadership is very important here. Quality of leadership. Quality of leadership is very important there. It may be engineering leadership. Engineering work because construction follows engineering decisions, and engineering follows its super engineering decision, that is design engineering decisions. When I say design engineer, it's a kind of prime engineering, and when say engineering on site, that's called, you can say, support engineering to design engineering, because whatever is designed, whatever is received from design, that is reviewed on site, that is reviewed in totality, not in isolation, because construction is based on total designs. Maybe in design sections there are few sections, again you have to take care of this, you have to take care of this, but on site construction means collection of all information, collection of all information, all interdisciplinary information, all quality safety information, every information should be available to do one task. This means task is coordinated one, task is multidisciplinary, task is engineering based, and task is amalgamation of all sections. It is implemented based on whatever information is available on site. And for that, who is responsible? Engineer is responsible. That person who takes care of engineering section, or you can say working design sections. We can call it working design based on original designs. Work is to be done based on that design, and that design is not one discipline, it's based on various disciplines. Engineering is that work on projects which is to be resolved. Sometimes one activity takes a lot of time of engineering because every discipline requires study. Every discipline has problems, and these problems must be understood by analytical methods, by coordination. And this coordination is very significant. Term coordination, again I stress, I can talk a lot on that, but talking is not enough in coordination. Coordination means doing. Coordination is study. What coordination is actually? If you define coordination in few terms, you can say, you know everything first, what is to be done. On site, you can do only when every information is given on as brief documentation as is possible. If you give 10 documents to site person, you do this work, I think that person will not be able to do that, because that person may be site junior or foreman, and you can't expect that person to work on all these drawings. That is job of learned person, and who is site engineer or higher than that. So we cannot leave it to them, and for that purpose engineering is established, engineering division which takes care of that. Actually, what I understand by best implementation is that coordinated information should be given to those who work on site. That coordinated information is very significant, and that is what engineering is about. There was some phrase in Arabic word. What is difference between engineer and foreman? They simply interpret that foreman just arranges, foreman leads others, foreman leads others, foreman organizes materials, resources, and they carry out work, while engineer goes through drawings and instructs what to be done. Means it's a kind of, they separate like this, while it's not correct exactly. They think arrangement is done by foreman. Okay, that's fine. They have to arrange, but ultimately arrangement is done by managers. Foremen are site managers, like they lead workers. They have to utilize workforce, they have to utilize machines, and they have to define requirements as well. It's important. It cannot be taken for granted. We cannot take it just for taking purpose. It's to be understood properly. An engineer, you can say an office engineer, we generally call manager, technical manager he can be called, or field engineer we call it, where engineer's job is done, must have complete input and provide such details which are explanatory for everyone. This is given to all, maybe site persons, maybe those who have to supervise, and those who are work with quality, who are going to work with quality. These are given to everyone. And this is, you can say, a combination of all disciplines that we have to respect. Really, we have to respect. And if we fail to respect that, we fail everywhere on every front. I still remember my time in field when I was on sites. I'm talking of not in this country, I'm talking of overseas. I was appointed site engineer due to some reason. They asked me, what shall you prefer? One director asked me when I joined that organization on site, shall you like to work in site or you shall like to work in office? Well, I could not answer. He asked me many times, meeting in mess or somewhere else, and this director was very active, in fact, very active. He was heading that project. It's an energy project. Again and again he met me and asked me for 2 or 3 days, I think. He did not give me any assignment, just ask me, watch, see what's happening around. Means he asked me many times, 3 or 4 times, I think, when he's in the office, in site, tell me what you want to do. He was interested in me because I had experience from Qatar, I experienced from Iraq and Lebanon. He was more interested in experience from Qatar. That's up to you. I can't decide. You have to decide me. You want to get me to office work or you want to get me to site work. In fact, there was some urgency in office. But when I did not answer, the director asked me, okay, go to site. I started site work. I did not mind because I had experience of both site and office. And my position was not very high in that assignment. I had some problems. I accepted, okay, no problem. I started working. I think not even 2 months were over. Maybe 1 month, hardly 1 month or something like that, I had dispute with foremen. I had dispute with some other people. In their language they used to call dispute. But they were impressed by my site working. That was another reason. I did every paperwork. I did every activity required by a site engineer. Site moved. Work was moving. There was no lapse. Nothing happened. Whatever was expected was done. Wherever queries were required, these were raised. Where methods were required, these were drawn. Sketches were required, these were done. Site inspections were required, site instructions were required, drawing interaction with foreman required. There was no lacuna, you can say. There was no shortcomings in that work. Of course, I had some dispute with some people, and that reached to that head director. Well, he did not say to anything. And when one project was ready for costing about 500 cubic meter concrete, the foundation, and they know this man can work it way. And our report is that this person did paperwork, this person did site work, this person did that, this did and talk to them, everyone except one dispute, and dispute is also admissible. So I was told one day There was circular in that site regarding myself. I didn't know that this person is, you can say, office engineer of this project. Office engineer, and he has this job description, this, a long list of job descriptions. Somebody told me, you are given promotion. Oh, what do you mean promotion? What promotion? I just 1.5 months here. No, there is a circular. You have to do everything. Not everything. This person, this head called me after some time. And this concrete was not even over. I think it's over somewhere, but they called me after some time. Come on, this is your office. You take this room. Before that, I was not in room. I was outside in common area. What's mean by that? You have to sit here and work. And I asked him, I can't work without computer. No, that's not a problem. You want to work on worksheet and this and I will provide that one. I still was hesitant. Then somebody asked me, when he's saying to you, take this office, finish. Why are you waiting for? Then I by chance saw that circular. It was not given to me. I saw that circular. Well, there was a long list, and this person is now appointed for this site as office engineer, project office engineer. And I think 15 responsibilities, more than that, for especially coordination, technical method, site query, engineering query, designs, and I don't know how many, what are there. And there was such long list. There could be more, so I say, okay, I started that one. And really, I was surprised that there were about many engineers, about many foremen on the site. They used to come to me all the time, one by one, this is my problem, and this is my problem, and this is drawing, and this is a problem, I study this, I understand this, you understand it. And I had to start site queries, technical queries. I had to work on shop drawings, I had to work on working drawings, I have to write method statements, I have to deal with quality issues, I have to deal with drawings, I have to deal with, you can say, quantification, I have to deal with contract. Day by day, time started passing. I did not know, I did not even expect that I had to work in that position, because I was ready for every assignment. So that position, I was there in that position for about 3 years. You can imagine, on one project. From site technical queries to as-built. My last job on that person was as-builts of whole project. And there was so much work on that site. I spent time on improving my computer knowledge also. I had draftsmen, I had document controls, I had all, but I did myself as much as I could do. Particularly those shop drawing where I tried to involve myself, because those were very complicated and communication was a problem. And another problem I felt that I give something to draftsmen. If I give everything to draftsmen's attitude is that they do something, they send it to you to check it, you will find mistakes and give back. Like 2 or 3 rotations are done till the drawing is finalized, and it may take 2 days or 3 days, and maybe you forget. You don't even conceive that after 3 days. It's such a fast activity, and draftsmen know it. They know it. What's the problem in drawings? You think they don't know? They know better than what I know. Every draftsman is expert. They know how to keep work hanging. I noted this. I am wasting my time with this draftsman. Let him do something else. Let him do where he is busy, and I take care of these narrow, detailed running works. I had known by that time software. I started doing at least something on my own. Of course, it took some time. I had to spend time on that. But when I started doing something myself, these people were surprised that he is doing himself. Then that draftsman used to coming every time. I can do it, no problem. Yeah, you have enough work to do. I told them, don't worry about that. Don't worry. I have 2 draftsmen, not 1. You do whatever is given to you, major works you do, and this detailed work, which actually site people always come to me to discuss. They want, earliest resolution on that. And I cannot wait for a couple of days when you finish this drawing, we submit, because every day is important on site. So if whatever possible where there is emergency, I do myself, and I did it. When site people also started knowing that this person listens to them, and before you explain your problem, he understands problem. Okay, you want this, right? When one engineer from Pakistan came, oh, this is here, this is me. He explains something. He explains problem in a way. So I say you want confirmation of this level. Yes, yes, you got it. I explained to many, they can't understand. You got in just without even asking me. Oh, this is that, this is requirement, this drawing says this. You want a clarification on this? Yes, I want clarification on this. Or I give you a proposal, you propose this. So I think in a couple, if 2 months or less than that, I got complete grip of that project. Complete grip. There was some person, another senior engineer, he was in that position before. He told me, if you want any help, I'm expert of this. Okay, thank you. I of course I'll come to you when it's required. No problem. So my job was there. All this which I share with you, there was no certain limitations on activities, and that's what I understand. That engineering has no limitation. Engineering is such a world where you have to give delivery. I I I knew my problems. I knew site problems. I know that people on site, engineers on site remain very busy and they cannot concentrate to a level you sit in an office and concentrate, because they have to handle workforce, they have to handle equipment, they have to handle consultants also, they have to handle every activity, and they keep running here and there and walking in this in sun, hot temperatures. Likewise, you can say, after all, they are human beings and everybody has not same concentration. Use of mind is required. They have plenty of mind. They can use it if they sit with concentration, but whole day concentration is not achieved even for 20% of time. And this is my problem as well, because I have been site engineers in beginning, and I know that problem, how difficult it is. I did not have in my career as site engineer such support, but I wanted, because I had accumulation of that knowledge. I never cared for my position. I always tried to acquire knowledge. I never cared whether I was a site engineer or I was a manager or whatever I was. My job was to do task. Even quantity I don't mind. That's not my job, but I don't mind. Quantity is important. Quantity gives me idea. When you do plan something, quantity is must. If I can't plan, means I don't have idea. If I don't know quantum of work, how can I plan? If I know how much work mason can do in one day on any activity, how much work carpenter can do, how can I plan? I can't plan. So it's not simply, it's accumulation of every task, quantity, safety, workforce, machines, time. We have to relate to every requirement, and that is what is engineering. Quantity people do not like to work on because it is boring, it is time consuming, but now it's not a problem because of computer. I don't trust softwares, I trust working out quantity by self. Only way is take off. Take off is important in quantities, and take off means fast take off. Maybe there is approximation. I still remember one time my another director called me. Oh, in 10 minutes you tell me what's quantity of this system. In 10 minutes I have no more time. Well, once I was shocked in 10 minutes even, but later no problem. I did not use computer at all. I just collected information manually, and then I worked out manually first and then put in. It took just 10 minutes only, and I told him. He actually wanted to test me whether I was good in quantification or not. But I had done on contracts, I had done on bidding. I think I'm not saying I know everything. No, I don't know. I'm jack of all and master of none. You can say that. Jack of all and master of none. In our language we call it in a phrase in Hindi as Neem Hakim Khatre Chan. This means a doctor which depends on a tree neem, or which it depends on a very small number of medicines, and that doctor can cause you problem, can endanger life. Got it? So jack of all and master of none. I am. In fact, I can name myself very little knowledge and boasting as if I know everything. No. I know very little. In fact, long experience does not mean good knowledge. This means some knowledge. And that's why I'm trying to explain about basic solution requirement. A site can run best, a site can run fast, work can be done fast if engineering support is reliable. If engineering support is not reliable, site person shall work but with mistakes. Property of a site person is, character of a site person is, site cannot wait. If site waits means everything is held up. Site cannot wait. Okay, we say in system everything should be approved for construction. That's right. But how long can you take whole contract time for designs? No, can't. We have to think differently. World has changed. Engineering moves very fast. We have to handle fast track projects. Quality is still to be maintained, speed is to be maintained, and cost is to be maintained. And that's what engineering is about. Engineering and construction, when we say we relate to construction, I talked something on engineering and construction, people would say I require this and I require that. I should simply tell them, don't worry, whatever you require, give me in writing or tell me, I'll note it down, but I will add my own idea to that. You see, for example, an engineering division has to take care of, you can say, quality also. It has to take care of quantity. It has to take care of time. Otherwise, we cannot move. We have to write something. It's duty of construction people to write method statements. Some people say it is duty of quality people. Some people say it is duty of engineering people. In fact, I say it is duty of everyone. Forget it. I least bother. Your duty or your duty. I can't sit on duties. We can't simply sit on duties considerations. We have not to decide duties. We have to decide a statement. We have to declare. We have to work this way. And that declaration is explanatory. That declaration should be explicit. And that declaration is called method statement. Now construction people should do, or quality people should do, or engineering people should do. Forget all that. It's a statement. We'll write. What's the problem? So I collect information from construction people. I write a statement because 60% of information is already available. Only some information has to be put in from site people. No one can change whatever are materials available or materials approved. No one can change design drawings. No one can change safety requirements. No one can change quality requirements. Only procedure can be changed, sequence of procedure, how shall we work on site. In fact, that format is very easy if you try to understand. It's very easy. Major information is available. Majority of information is available. What is not available can be taken from site. Just have a discussion 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes with that construction person, site engineer or superintendent or whoever, construction manager. Generally site engineer is enough for this purpose. Just take some notes, what that person has in mind, and that is enough. Of course, after that we have to discuss with quality person, ITP requirements. They maybe you got some copies of that ITP's requirement or checklist requirement like that, or some specific clause on quality. Codes are there, we cannot change them also. So in fact, you see, it's half work. Referral, you have to refer to documents which you can take from document controls, and remaining work is only few small percentage of method. And that we have to take care of. Just a minute, please. So method statement, as I was explaining, is such a tool which is written by combination of everybody. It's combination of everybody. It's not my work, it's not your work. It's everybody's work. It must be taken care of likewise. In fact, on that project, I wrote statements of every activity, and that knowledge I try to use on these talks, so that people or engineers may have that input. At least I understand that every engineer is capable of filling up that form of method statement. I can say it's a form. Of course, it depends on what method it is. Sometimes it's long statement, sometimes it is short statement. And once it is done, means you can say concentration is done on this statement for every requirement. And if we can fulfill that, that is what is required. Fulfilling requirement of work, what we have to do is method statement. It's not something unknown. Everything is known beforehand. Everything is known beforehand, and that's important. We know what we have to do after approval. This is to be given to everybody: site engineer, quality engineer, consultant, or who has supervised, and it is amended also if there are comments from everybody. Maybe I add my mind and they do not want that action. That can be replaced or taken out. Sometimes, because construction people are different, they want to do job in shortcuts, or they think they can economize. But it happens practically. Sometimes it is accepted, sometimes it's not accepted. We cannot move something against engineering principles. Sometimes they want to save money, they can write even non-engineering items which are not acceptable, because they have to move with specifications requirement. Whatever is specified, we have to do in that way. We cannot move otherwise. It's not practically possible. You cannot say no. We have to refer to specifications because we write specification reference. We have to refer to manufacturer's instructions if there are some proprietary materials which only can be defined by manufacturer. There can be shop drawings, there can be working drawings, or there can be something else which code requires. Likewise, we can say reference means reference to available information or which has to be extracted, and that is why engineering is required, engineering input is required. So some way there is tolerance, some way there is no tolerance. There can be some disputes also, technical disputes between engineering section and construction section, and there can be a technical dispute engineering section and quality section, and somewhere between construction and quality section there are chances, still chances. I still remember one case. I drew method statement for some activity of tiling, and the construction person said, no, we want to use sand filling below that. Means I didn't accept that. Is how it's possible, because I discussed with quality guys. The sand filling is not way, it's not given somewhere in drawings as well. It's not given in this. They asked many people. The British guy was there, he was a quality person. He asked me a question, did you see somewhere? I said, no, I didn't see anywhere. We asked construction, did you see somewhere? They could not answer. He just wanted to use in place of mortar, sand filling, and which is never done. It's never done for internal tilings. Well, maybe on footpaths outside you can do something, but he just wanted to say a mortar says so many square meter area it is, and we have to spend a lot. The question is not how much you have to spend. The question is not compliance to specifications, compliance to requirements. So this question was raised to many. Did you ever see sand filling below tiling floor, this and that, all over? And nobody said yes in some way. So ultimately, this was a disputed item. Construction people are rigid on that. No, I will do this. No, it's not accepted. I said, I cannot include like this because it's not my final authority. I cannot say do it. And you are also not final authority because it is to be approved by someone. Like that situation can come. It's not personal dispute, it's engineering dispute. You cannot say you can use in the reinforced slab without steel. You can use timber. You cannot do that. You can use plastic. You can't do that. You have to use steel. That's a point here. It's important. We have to get this into our consideration. Everything is not that easy. It looks easy. You have to take care of everything, and that's what's required is. Means it was one point. And I used to go to quality section normally on every statement when I had to finalize. I have to discuss first with construction people. I have written this. Of course, not English language. They just contents means okay, fine. You can just add this or you can just take out. And then I discuss finally with quality people what your ITP says, what your checklist says, and what provisions other than the specification to think are there from quality viewpoint. It was discussed in depth. It was discussed very well. Will you 5 minutes please? I'll be back. So we can say that engineering is that important part, but we should not take it exclusively separate because construction and engineering are done together. Person is on site, who's in responsibility of construction, that person has to do everything for construction. That person has to arrange every work, every material required, and it is important. Without that, nothing is going to work. We have to keep this in mind. Collaboration of engineering and construction, both are construction oriented, both have to work together, of course with support of quality. So quality is independent of both. That is principle in system, that quality people, though they belong to same organization but have different responsibility, quality people have to make sure that everything is done according to requirements, everything is complied with. While construction people are interested, of course they are interested in quality, but just they overlook. Therefore, responsibility of construction is little varying. They say we are okay, but engineers control them. Engineering section controls over them. Once method is finalized, and method is written for every activity. Once method is finalized, it is a kind of agreement. It involves engineering input, it involves methods input, construction input, it involves quality input, it involves safety input, and it involves manufacturers input, manufacturers of specific materials which are particularly meant and they are proprietary one. If we do not take care of their instructions, they can say it's not our fault and it is beyond their control that instructions are not complied with. And if instructions are complied with and if material doesn't perform and we have to establish the instructions were complied with, then we can say liability goes to them. That's just a point of interest. तेरी मर्जी बना ली, छोड़ के बना ले, अपने घर बना ले, तेरी मर्जी है, देख ले, बना ले, बनानी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So, as we said in this statement, you can see here is written a division leader. The division leader would be expected to have engineering professional degree with long years of experience with multidisciplinary knowledge for working and application purpose based on interface and intercoordination. A quality division leader would be required to have engineering professional degree with complete backup of code provisions, specifications, working procedures, testing and inspection in depth knowledge, so that all ITPs, checklists and method statements can be produced meeting trade and project requirements. An estimation division leader would be required to have a professional engineering degree with many years of estimation and valuation experience with complete backup of item rates, procurement prices, required technicalities of various types of materials, and equipment with high degree of quantity, surveying, practice and power of negotiation. A complete understanding of construction contexts such as FIDIC or NEC based formats must be known to such leaders who must have detailed knowledge of contracts and arbitration. A procurement division leader must be thorough in materials and engineering for purpose of screening and charting out quotation analysis and operation research over that. A planning and scheduling division leader must be a professional engineer with thorough knowledge of engineering and prosecution methods with sequence of operations and applications of required time for such operations. Similarly, site leader must have engineering requirements with decades of experience and skill to check, review and chart out site issues efficiently. And due to the fact that site leader represents organization on front of project, who therefore must be extended all demanded support from other corporate leaders. It's a major requirement that all leaders must be fully aware about project requirements and about system applications While intern must train juniors to keep complete required understanding to an extent job responsibility demands, all leaders and associates must keep update on system requirement as well as whatever changes are brought into system management structure from time to time throughout currency of project. If if so required, related training to all personnel should be imparted to keep them refreshed, just as training regarding safety discipline is imparted regularly. Now, suggestions should be invited from all personnel without any hesitation so that what's in mind of personnel be exposed and if good should be included within system. Every organization is owner of many resources such as heavy equipment, batching plants, concrete pumps, concrete transporting trucks, electrical equipment, middle level equipment as well as various others. Now, as we have seen these notes are not from some books, again I say, these are experience based writings. What we feel, you may say that this is another writing, this is a book. Those notes are published, but it is a book that can be referred to in terms of notes. I'm not claiming any originality on this. It's just a reflection of experience and learning. You can say learning based experience that we can get only in projects fields. We cannot get this experience from others. You have to work yourself and you have to write your experience, which is generally not done. A tendency is that engineers never write something they did. Very few only can write. And again I say that writing reference or writing your experience, writing what did you do, how did you do, was it right or was it not right, where I made mistakes, where I did not make mistakes. I don't want any capital credit. It's learning process. As we say, continuous professional development. When we do whatever project, in whatever form, in whatever status, whatever responsibility, whatever role, we do something, we learn something, we lose something, we teach something, we learn everywhere. But that is through communication. Many hands, every project has many hands. Designs, there are so many hands on that. In construction, there are thousands and thousands and millions hands work together. And if this project has worked for 3 years, how many million hands have worked on this? How many million hours have worked on this? It's not a product of one hammer. You can say, I just put hammer, I hammer this product and this is molded. It's not just that. There is a difference between civil engineering products and other engineering products. Machines are liable only for few years. After that, machines are salvaged or scrapped. But construction doesn't amount to that way. Construction is different. Its time, its cost, its quality, its value, its longevity, its return. You know, machine can be replaced maybe after 5 years. Okay, now new technology has come. Well, let us obsolete this. It's no use in current technology, but in construction, it doesn't work. In projects, it doesn't work. If it's a real project, it's project of construction, project of development, there may be machines which are long-term valued. We cannot say machine is to be changed every 1 year. Even on facilities, we consider facilities life, say 30 years. And there may be some amendments. There may be some replacement, but not in general. We can't replace equipment, we can't replace vessels. Okay, in 5 years we replace that. That doesn't happen, that doesn't work. So what is important is we have to keep in long term. And therefore, whatever is to be done should be done accordingly. Communication should be explicit, it should be clear, it should be sequenced. Same way, coordination is a terminology used for right work to be done in the right way. Collection and information, happening of those information same time when construction is done. It's not that I will use this information later on, we construct it now, that's not going to happen. Okay, this is an information, I could not get it, now I get it, I will incorporate this information onto that object. That's not going to work. Object has been done rightly or wrongly. So coordination is that art. It's the art. You can say it's a science. You can say it's a kind of mathematics. You can say it should move much more advanced than work. That's called a vision, prevision. You can say it's a kind of you can say mental work. You have to give time. You have to know this work is going to happen. You know your way, or somebody tells you, and you have to consider all points of that work. If somebody asks you or you do yourself, it's up to you. You do yourself without asking others, and when time comes, somebody shall certainly come to you. What about this? And you can say this is available. You want your information, give me this information. If you ask them at that time any coordinate, they will not give you anything because they have not gone through that, only you are going through that. So it's a different way. Coordination means you have to stand with them to help them. It's neither a support, it's not a lead, you can say it's a requirement. It's such requirement which you cannot say that's a support. Yeah, it is support of course, but it is something lead. You lead at that time when you start coordination, and that lead goes to that lead which is going to work on that. Both are leaders. To support them, to help them, you have to start from very beginning. Maybe these people do not know who are going to construct, but they have a plan in mind that I want to start that, and that time we will come, this is not available. That time information should be available. That is coordination. So in that case you can say you are a site engineer as well. You are a procurement engineer because procurement is also required for that. I'll discuss about procurement later. Now I'm trying to discuss construction and engineering, which are brothers and sisters, which are siblings, without which you cannot move, and of course quality inputs there. Therefore, it's in interest of everybody who is in engineering and who is an engineer, even though you may not be in construction, or you may be in construction, that's a better point. If I am in construction, then I have to be coordinator myself. And a site engineer, if one acts as a coordinator also of this project, I think is the best one. Then you cannot say you're only site engineer, you are a coordination engineer as well. And if you have concentration, I think concentration is required on this. Concentration is only point that's required in engineering, believe me. If you concentrate on activity, you can solve it. Yes, there can be time requirement, information is not available, or design is not available, but meanwhile you can say I have this in mind. You can keep 5% items pending, but it should be resolved before time comes. There are so many items on which concrete is done, mortar is done, which do not need any product which has to be imported. Designs are available, maybe some designs are modified during construction. So we should be flexible enough on them. Flexible in the sense that we have to adopt new system, new design if it comes. We should not stand rigid, no, why it come now? It keeps on happening because of various restrictions, various barricades that come in way. So construction and construction engineering are very significant disciplines. You may call them divisions, you may call them sections on a project. They are project specific, they are profession specific. We have to keep in mind that construction is final word, and that final should have all initial words with it. Construction should be based on engineering, it should be based on quality, it should be based on requirements, it should comply with specifications, and specification compliance itself is called quality. If somebody can define quality, it's only specifications that can define quality. All this has been done according to specifications. This clear indication that contract conditions have been complied with. Contract condition doesn't mean general conditions or specific or particular conditions of FIDIC based contract, but also technical requirements fulfilled is called contract condition. Of course, it's not a part of formal condition, but specifications, requirements meeting itself says it's important. We have to be very serious on this issue. We cannot just say it's done or not done, it has to be done. So it's very important point to keep in my mind that both sections, construction and engineering in fact are same. I should say engineering construction section, in fact, I can say, or construction engineering section, you can say, I I integrate both in myself, and that is an only way to do good construction. If always we think, oh no, this is not my job, this is your job, and this is your job, it's not my job, there is no way, because it is what we have to construct, that is engineering, and engineering aspects, engineering construction in every way suitable, acceptable, recognizable, and workable. Not a question of contract alone, question of quality means good practice, it is industry. Quality is suggestion, quality is command, but delivery is different. When something is delivered, this includes every consideration, it includes every input. That is where we have to stand. We have to recognize this fact that engineering cannot move on itself, construction cannot move on itself, both have to move together. If I decide everything in engineering and construction doesn't happen, then all is futile. All attempt is futile. If my design is not converted to working designs, and working designs and working specifications are not implemented, there is, it's just like educational theory, nothing else. You learn from university, you don't apply anything. That's no fertile way. We have to be very serious about this issue of engineering, about this issue of requirement, which is much more important than something else. Everything cannot be taken for granted. We have to move that way. I will take care of this talk later on also, because still I'm not happy that I talked. I want to talk more on construction and more on engineering, because I spent my life in both construction and engineering and supervision. A multitude experience, multi-level experience, and of course contracts which is very complex but too easy. As I define contract, two parties have to work together, that's contract. Here also engineering and site engineering have to work together, this is a contract, though it's not an office contract, it's contract of consent, it's a contract of cooperation contract, it can be called cooperation together, significant one. Means sometimes we have to be very helpful to each other. If I help site, I help myself. If site helps me, they help themselves, because we help together each other. Work is helped, nothing else is helped. Work helps each other, we help each other. I will not move further on this today, because it's nearly 2 hours, and today I like to extend this talk further, maybe in a way that it's not because I want to talk length, but because I want to leave my words to you. I know you cannot go to every word, every sentence, but when you have experience in life, thinking is not enough, doing is enough. Just say thinking and doing it together. I say concentrate on something, and that's a very important point. That point you have to keep in mind every time. Just doing something or not doing something, concentration or no concentration, analysis or no analysis, thinking or no thinking, all these are beautiful attractions. We must have care of these, and if we don't care for these, we lose something. It's my always good approach that we have to seriously concern this, as I said in this paper, though it's not published one, this is just written one. We'll discuss about it's a long way. We'll discuss about something else, and that is performance evaluation, that is clause 9, and then it shall be 10, and that's improvement. And there is no list of major documents. Just for your information, I'm telling you these documents. For example, contract documents, project schedule, agreed with engineer owner, contract drawings, contract specifications, execution method statements, significant method statements, shop and working drawings, national codes, international codes, national annexes, nationally determined parameters, published documents. These are 10 clauses, but life doesn't stop on these clauses. Improvement has no limit. We have to take care of all this in this regard, and then we can see that we are somewhere near. This is our power, we can say. This is our power of thinking, concentration, analysis, reliability, cost waste, time. That we are moving in that direction, and that's very important here. I think we have to now understand all this. Is very important part. It's really for me my privilege that I'm trying to share with you. Of course, this is interesting one, reliable one. We have to take care of this. We'll be back again. Thank you very much.